Hey guys, it's Wednesday, March 1st. Two more days. This is Newswave. So let's just start with obviously the big thing that happened yesterday, which is the big Nintendo Switch indie event. It was massive. They showed off so many indie games. I said it before, guys, it's so different for Nintendo to be doing this, to be pushing indies like they are, advertising it heavily, but it's a good thing. This is very, very good on Nintendo's part. I think I'll have a much more in-depth look at this later on, so keep an eye on the channel for that, where I just go through some of the indie channels, and I maybe give you guys even a list of my favorite ones to look forward to. But, of course, indie games really help fill in the gaps between big AAA releases. I think Nintendo realizes they were missing some of that last generation of the Wii U with those big dry spell of games, so this is good to see. Let me just show you guys a couple that I'm excited for real quick. So they hit us with this massive chart. I mean, look at this thing. There's so many games here that they consider they're indie games that are showing up. We're going to get Stardew Valley is going to be a console exclusive for multiplayer aspect in the beginning, and then I assume it will then move over to, say, Xbox One, PS4. They said console, which means it might be PC as well at the time, but there will be a co-op mode that will be exclusive to, like a timed exclusive for the Switch, which is good. Snake Pass, I've already talked about, heavily looks great. There was Rive, which looks cool, but they didn't really show that one. They showed Yooka-Laylee off at the beginning, which, if you don't know what Yooka-Laylee is, you need to stop right now, go look at the video. That game is a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, and it looks awesome. Cave Story was there, but they also had Shovel Knight, which they released a new trailer for that as well. Celeste, Terraria, World Goo, Runner 3, which looks really good. We've already talked about Fast RMX. I mean, the list goes on. There was even a couple other ones that were definitely interesting, like Flipping Death looked odd. I mean, it looked different, at least to the point where it's interesting. And then the big one that I think I was the most excited for out of a lot of these is Blaster Master Zero. That game looks awesome. It's like old school Blaster Master, then it has a couple other extra features too, like top down. Mr. Shifty looked interesting, just kind of jumping around and teleporting, trying to infiltrate like the world's most secure building. And just overall, it's an exciting time to be a Nintendo fan and see that they are heavily pushing indie games, because indie games, like I said, guys, can really help out a console's library. It can really hit it hard. This is one of the big reasons everyone loves Steam so much. You see so many cool, unique indie games show up there, and it's like every other day, more games are coming out on Steam. Nintendo could technically do that if they can keep getting indie games to come over. Apparently, the ease of development is helping this, so the fact that they are pushing it so heavily now, I think it will only continue throughout the Switch's lifespan. And with that, guys, let's jump over to Microsoft and the Xbox. They announced that there will be the Microsoft or Xbox Game Pass service that you can purchase for $9.99 a month. And you might be asking what that $9.99 a month will get you. Well, actually a lot. There's actually a good bit here. So what's going to happen is they are going to start what is essentially a Netflix kind of for games, and that means that you will then pay that $10 a month, and you'll have access to several games that they just put on there. And the biggest thing that caught me off guard, I looked at this and I said, oh, they're going to do like a game streaming service, kind of like how Gaikai did it, or PS Now, which PS Now really, it flopped, I think, big time at this point. It's just not heavily utilized. Well, apparently Microsoft is going to take it a different approach here. It's going to be almost like how Steam does it to a degree, where you can actually play these games offline as well. Every like 30 days you have to check in is what they're saying. It's still kind of hazy on that end, but apparently they're going to do over 100 Xbox One and backwards compatible 360 games. It's going to start, like I said, $10 a month. It'll be over 100 games, and what you do is you go in there to this menu and you pick a game. It then downloads it to your system, so it's going to be local play. It's not going to be streamed over a network, which is interesting. That's a great idea, because obviously streaming services for that, there's still lag. It's not there yet. I think, like I said, Gaikai, I think PS Now has shown that, but they're going to do all kinds of stuff. They're going to do like Halo 5, Payday 2, NBA 2K16. I know what you're saying 2K16 is old, but again, it's part of that service, and it will give companies a way to get something out of games that are just kind of lost on them. I mean, 2K16, whenever a new basketball game comes out, the old one is so worthless, it's insane. But if they can at least tack it on here, that's just another way. Maybe you get introduced to basketball games that way, and then you start liking them, and you go out and buy the new one. I think it works out for developers. I think it works out for consumers in this case. It's just going to get very hazy on which games show up there, because you're not going to get, I think personally, the newest, latest, greatest game there. You're going to get an older game library, which some people won't mind because it's a good value at $10 a month. And they also said, according to their press release, you do not need to have Xbox Live Gold to get the service. So that means that if you don't want to have the $60 a year service on top of the $10 a month service. You don't have to do that. They did say, though, you will need it if you want to play online. So if you get a game like 2K16, you want to go online and play other people, obviously you need to have Xbox Live Gold. I figured that wasn't an issue. I figure most people knew that, but they wanted to clarify that. And then they also said that anyone with the service will also get percentages off of the game if they want to just buy it and have it forever. But if you're subscribing to the service, you really wouldn't need to do that. However, there's a chance that they do take games away, much like Netflix takes series or movies off of their service, depending on, I guess, licensing or who knows at that point. But I do see this as a big advantage for Microsoft if they can make this work. That's, of course, make it work. I mean, everything has to work well, and they have to keep the game library updated. It has to keep getting new stuff to pull in more people. You constantly see Netflix, Hulu doing all these original series, give these people new content, and I think Microsoft sees this as a long-run kind of game, like a long-term solution here. So I will very much so like to see this happen across the board for other companies, but Microsoft is definitely testing the waters first with local games, not streaming service, because streaming services were really, I think, hurting PS Now. Maybe PlayStation does the same thing. I think everyone's going to keep an eye on what happens here with Microsoft's Game Access Pass, and we'll see. Here's hoping it works out, because I think it could open the door for other companies to do the same thing. Oh, and we've talked about this with the other companies. I just want to let you guys know, anyone looking for Switch Thursday night at midnight, Walmart is also joining the GameStop and Best Buy press releases where they're going to have extra Switches. So you can go to Walmart, even if you've not ordered through them or pre-ordered it, you may be able to get a Switch. Just another place to look. Thursday around 6 or 7, if you're still scrambling for your Switch, call your Walmart. Well, don't call because they won't pick up the phone. I've been through this. Go to Walmart, talk to the people there, and see if they have a Switch, because you may get lucky. I feel like a lot of people aren't going to check Walmart at midnight past what they've ordered, so keep that in mind also. Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart, all places that should have Switches at midnight. And this next bit of news actually concerns YouTube itself as a whole, not really video games or anything, but it's technology-based. It affects all of us. You're watching this now on YouTube, so it affects you as well. YouTube is starting something called YouTube TV. And I have to say, I'm really excited about this service personally, because I hate my cable bill when I have to pay cable every month, which I do. I have 3 DVR boxes and everything. I hate having them. I'd love to get rid of them. And YouTube, I think, integrated with this service would be great. So what's happening is they are offering consumers who watch YouTube the option to pay $35 a month and gain access to live TV channels. So the $35 a month will get you several channels, but it also let you have up to 6 people using it on different devices, which is great because you can split it between friends. You can have it for one household and have tons of devices on it if you have a bunch of kids or just people in your house, I guess. You can split it with them and they can use it on any device that uses YouTube at this point, your iPad, your phone, your computer, whatever you have that you can watch YouTube on, you should be able to access this YouTube TV. And they're going to offer actual channels, like I said before, USA, FX, Freeform, ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC, all of the local channels. And then you can also pay a little extra if you want to get something like Showtime, for example. You can pay a little bit extra, and I assume they might do it for HBO as well, and you can get those also. But where it gets really interesting, it's been pointed out heavily by several people. I was watching Philip DeFranco talk about this yesterday, where it will be usable to where other YouTubers will start to show up along like live TV towards the end. So if a show ends because you do DVR, which they will offer cloud DVR, which is huge, you will then see YouTubers maybe pop up as related sources. So maybe there's a channel you discover, or your mom discovers, your dad, brother, whoever. Maybe there are people who just don't do YouTube, but they have this service because they see it's cheap, it's month to month, and it can help them cut their cable bill. They're watching a regular show. All of a sudden, at the end or in the credits, a YouTuber pops up who wanted to review that episode or discussion about the TV show you're watching. You get turned on to them. All of a sudden, YouTube now has another viewer that may just start watching YouTube. So this is a really cool idea, I think, on their part. It's been a long time coming. I've been wondering when this was going to happen for the longest time, because I think YouTube really wants to grab every viewer they can and bring them into like the YouTube community. So I'm excited for it myself, not just as a creator, but as a viewer, someone who loves being on YouTube and watching YouTube. So I think it's going to be great. I think at this point, they already outclass stuff like PlayStation Vue and any of those other ones, Sling TV. So this is great. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. It's just going to see how this goes. I hope it does well. but only time will tell with that. And if there already wasn't enough reason to buy a Pro controller for that D-pad and that comfortable feel and just overall a classic controller, well, now there's more reason to buy it because apparently it works on your PC as well. And this was courtesy of a YouTuber by the name of Dreywolf, that's their handle, and this happened when they got a Pro controller early and they actually used it on their PC. It synced up natively is what they're saying, and you were able to use it in several games. Now, obviously the Pro controller has a lot going for it with its 40-hour battery life and just overall nice feel. I've used it. It was great. Some people are still turned off by the fact that it has digital triggers. That doesn't worry me as much since I don't do a lot of racing games, but I can see why some people may want to use the Xbox One controller for racing games, stuff like that. But the Pro controller, like I said, is awesome. It felt great in the hands. It has that HD rumble. What would be crazy if we get to a point where PC games can be modded to support HD rumble, and there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do from there. But it's nice to know that if you do get the Pro controller, you can turn around and use it on your PC too. So that's another reason, another functionality for it. It's also odd because Nintendo does not usually allow this kind of thing. Again, I said it before, I'll say it probably 80 more times from now until the end of the Switch's lifespan. This entire generation coming up for the Switch does not feel like usual Nintendo, and at this point, I think that's a good thing. And guys, we already had our look inside the Nintendo Switch system, but now we've actually looked inside the Joy-Con. And this is coming from our last bit of news today. Someone on Twitter by the handle of Leo, or @Linkies, showed us pictures of a Joy-Con that has been opened up. They didn't take the battery out, which is odd. I think I'm going to take the battery out and all the other stuff out as well. I don't blame them, though, because looking at these pictures, it does look a little intricate in there. Like, if you start taking stuff out, you might not know where to put it back. But we'll get into that myself. I think there's some stuff under that battery that we can take a look at. And overall, it's a very slim, very cool design, but I'm looking at it, and I think I kind of am getting an idea how their HD rumble looks. That's the other reason I would have wanted them to take that battery out. I feel like there's more motors and stuff under there that I would like to see, but overall, very nice design. You can see the battery takes up most of that Joy-Con inside, as I would expect it to. And I'm still taking it apart, obviously, to see what's going on. But it's cool to see just a quick look inside. But we'll see more in 2 days when I take mine apart. That's it for Newswave, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think about any of the stuff we talked about today. Maybe you're excited for those indie games. There's so many to count. Why don't you just leave, in the comments below, let me know what your favorite indie game was that you saw yesterday, because there are so many. It might just be hard to pick any of them. Maybe you're excited for the Xbox Game Pass. I think it looks great. Probably worth $10 a month for the amount of games they're offering. We'll just have to see what games start to show up. And let me know what you think about YouTube TV, because I think it's going to be very cool. I think it will finally get me off the cable trek here, because I don't really want to have to pay for cable anymore. But let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you next time.